Casas, the time I choose to film, it rains / hails, and of course you could probably hear it, so I apologise if the rain / hail continues. I'm looking out my window. I've been thinking about my life quite a bit recently, like from where I am now backwards, and I was thinking to myself, why don't I make a video of all the things that I wish I knew when I was younger? Because I've been having quite a few ideas recently about that kind of thing, so I thought, why not share that with you guys, my audience? The number one thing which I've definitely learnt, which it was not something that I could see when I was younger. Even now sometimes I don't quite understand why this is even so beneficial, I should say. But when I was younger, and still now, I'm quite energetic and ambitious. And the main thing that I loved the most when I was younger, especially because I was in school, I had a lot more free time, that kind of thing, in the evenings, I would go to sports classes a lot. And I did a ridiculous amount of activities, sports, hobbies, you name it, it was insane. I did taekwondo, kickboxing, horse riding, guitar, army cadets, football / soccer if you live in the US. I went to the gym, I swam, I played tennis. The list is endless. It is insane. I don't know how I fit all of that into my schedule. I have absolutely no clue. But like I said, I was in high school, middle school, earlier years of education, and I had a lot more free time. But the thing I realised the most is that you have to put your all into one thing, one main thing, and that is how you get successful. Because if you try to do lots and lots of things, you will only be averagely good at lots of things. You won't be absolutely phenomenally brilliant at one thing, and it is better to be absolutely phenomenally brilliant at one thing, because you can have a career in that. Most of my musician friends put their all into music and they've achieved so much. There's people at university that I thought to myself, wow, they achieve a lot, they do well, how do they do that? Because they put their all into it. They didn't do much else with their lives, but that's not a bad thing by any means. That's a great thing, because they put their all into that one thing and they got a lot out of it. So I am quite shocked at the benefit of focusing on one thing, which is something that I struggle with still. I still like to do lots and lots of different hobbies and abilities and everything, when really I should focus on getting good at one thing, or just a few things at a time, less than even a handful, which is 5 things if you want to measure it by that, you know? So that's definitely one thing. So focus on one thing at a time, put your all into it, and you will see the benefits compared to if you put your time into lots of different things, because you will find that you are too tired maybe, or unable to have that extra time to put your all into everything, or whatever your situation is. Next thing is clothing stores. I mean, this can be for any gender, really, but for clothing stores, so if you're a different size in a different shop, then that's not you, that's the brand. There's one brand that I will not name, and I always have to go up 2 or 3 sizes which is ridiculous, but I have to, because the t-shirts are designed to be quite tight-fitting and they cling to your stomach area. They cling to your tummy, I should say. And it just doesn't help your self-esteem, because you think to yourself, oh, I've gone up 3 sizes, have I gained weight? What's happened? When actually it's just the brand of clothing. In the past few months or so, I've seen an increase in females in particular complaining about particular brands of clothing that have altered their size or shape in a particularly negative and concerning way. It's not your body at all, it's the shops and how they design things and the material. There's so many different factors to it. For example, yesterday I went into one of my favourite clothing brands and I put one of the t-shirts against myself like this, and I noticed it was quite small, when usually I go for about a 6 to an 8. And this was an 8 and it was really small on me, and I was confused. And I said to the person working there, I said to them, what's happened? Why is this t-shirt so small when this is the size I go for? I'm confused. And they said, oh, it's just a different style of t-shirt, it's just a different fit. It's just a bit more boxy than the regular t-shirts, so it comes across as being shorter. And I was thinking, oh. And then they said to me, how about you try a size 14? And the number shocked me, because I'm only a size 6 to 8. Sometimes 8 at a push, because I'm very small. So I was quite shocked at this, and it put me off buying the t-shirt. I said to them, no thank you, I don't want to buy it. Not because I would be ashamed of wearing a bigger t-shirt, because size 14 is not that big at all. Not at all. It was just a shock to me that that particular t-shirt was fitted a different way to alter the sizing that much. It just shocked me. So that's another thing I learnt about clothing shops. It doesn't matter what size you are in shops. If you're a 6 in one shop or you're a 10 in another, so be it. It's not your body. It's nothing for you to be concerned about. It's just the brand. It's just how the t-shirts are styled and fitted. That's all. The third thing that I have learnt that I so wish I knew this when I was younger, when I was middle school age and above, I would say. I wish I knew that no matter how posh or prestigious or even rough you consider your school or educational establishment to be, you will all end up in the same place. And what I mean is, if you all go to the same university, whether you've been to the top school, a private school where you have to pay £1,000 per semester, or whether you go to a rundown school that got a poor from Ofsted and it had to turn into an academy because it wasn't any good and Ofsted are trying to work with the school to make it improve. It doesn't matter what your school is. You will end up in the same place. So if you've got one person that went to a community school or an academy or something of the description that I described, or if you have someone that went to a top private school, they've got top grades, they have all the opportunities in the world, and they pay a lot of money and they wear expensive uniform, more expensive than the norm, you are both going to be in the same situation. You'll be in the same university and you will most likely get the exact same grades as each other at the end. It doesn't matter about your past, it doesn't matter what school you've come from. You will get the same grades as each other. I'm pretty sure of it. I've seen that quite a lot. I've seen that. And it's a shock because you think, well, why have I spent thousands in private education and all of these things? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which school you go to. What matters is if you're trying your best, then that's all that anyone could ask of you. That is all. When I was 11 and I got my first dog, I was put into a room with a litter of puppies, and the breeder said to me, which ones you want? And you can't really tell their personalities because they were so young, couldn't really tell much. So I ended up choosing an older puppy from a different litter where I could see his personality. My dog was quite snappy, had quite a negative personality, and I didn't realise that when you pick a pet, it is a final decision that you have to live with for your whole life. So if you pick a pet with not a very nice personality, then they won't change. They will kind of be the same depending on the level of training you give and that kind of thing. I'm not saying that my dog is horrible or anything. He's a great dog. I made a video about my dogs on this channel if you want to check it out. I made it a few weeks ago. And he's a lovely dog. Lucky is a lovely dog. But what I mean is, choose your pet's personalities wisely. So, for example, if you're in a pet store and you want to buy a rabbit or a guinea pig or a hamster or a rat or something, ask the people that work at the shop if you can hold them, you can try to see how they respond to you, just so that you're making the absolute right decision. Last point then, past A-level/BTEC if you live in the UK, because all of my content is from a British perspective because I live in England. But if you study a BTEC or A-levels, then past that point your GCSEs don't really count anymore, because it's the A-levels or the BTEC that will get you into university. I mean, they do look at GCSEs, they do say, oh, you must have maths or English, but there will be a point where your GCSEs won't matter anymore. So, for example, I'm applying for jobs at the moment, and if I was to go to an interview, I wouldn't even show my GCSEs. I would just show my BTEC qualification and my degree. Some of my older cousins in my family have told me similar stories where they told me that they wouldn't apply for a job with their GCSEs, and quite a few of my friends have said it too. They wouldn't apply for a job with their GCSEs. The only reason why English language GCSE is in my folder that I take to job interviews with me is because if I want to work in magazine and print industry, then I have to show that I have good communication skills and that my English ability is good. So that's just there as a backup, but they won't employ me based on my GCSEs. They'll employ me based on my qualifications after high school and my personality and my work experience, that kind of thing. Hope you found that video helpful. Thank you for watching till the end. I really appreciate all of your support. If you like my content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, ask me any questions, feel free, and I will catch you in the next video. Gracias!